Hi, my name is Jessica and welcome to my channel. This is my partner Luis, and last month we spent 10 days in Ciudad de Mexico, also known as Mexico City. If you click this video, I assume you want to see what this beautiful city has to offer, and I'm not gonna let you down. So keep watching, and if you enjoyed this video at the end, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Alright, without further ado, let's get to the video. The first place we want to highlight is Bosque de Chapultepec, or Chapultepec Park. Massive doesn't even begin to describe just how large this park is. It's one of the largest city parks in the entire Western Hemisphere. Inside the park, there's a lake you can paddle boat on, a zoo, a castle, and several museums, monuments, and markets. Honestly, the list goes on and on. There's so much to see and experience that you'll never run out of things to do. In fact, our favorite memory was just watching a group of indigenous dancers perform. If you see them, I highly recommend taking a pause and watching them, and maybe leaving a few pesos if you can. Within Chapultepec Park is the most visited museum in all of Mexico, the National Museum of Anthropology. The museum has the largest collection of Mexican artifacts in the entire world. When you enter the museum, you're greeted by an open concept space that contains this impressive waterfall umbrella. Surrounding this art piece are all the exhibitions. Seriously, how cool is that? What I found super cool as a Canadian was the clever use of indoor and outdoor space throughout the museum. Each exhibition had an accompanying garden space that transported you back in time. That's why if you plan on visiting this museum, I highly recommend dedicating a minimum of 2 hours, if not more. My favorite historical period was learning about Tenochtitlan, which was once the largest city in pre-Columbian America. There's an impressive reconstruction of an Aztec market in Tenochtitlan that really captures just how complex and organized this society was. It really shows you just how integral markets were in Mexican culture then as it is today. Now, having a basic understanding of Mexico's history isn't necessary to enjoy the museum, but it definitely helped me personally to contextualize all the different exhibitions and really appreciate what I was looking at. So, fun fact, the center of what was Tenochtitlan is now a public main square known formally as the Plaza de la Constitucion, or more informally, the Zocalo. Likewise to its pre-colonial purpose, the Zocalo is still being used as a gathering place. On the eve of Mexican Independence Day, the President of Mexico performs the Grito de la Dolores on the balcony of the National Palace. We were actually there during Mexican Independence Day, but the area was blocked off to discourage gathering. This was as close as we could get. However, just a short block from the Zocalo is Templo Mayor. Templo Mayor was first constructed in 1325 and rebuilt 6 times before ultimately being destroyed by Spanish conquistadors in 1521. All that remains is what you see here. Barricaded ruins of what was once thought by the Aztecs to be the center of the universe. If you do want to see some pyramids that are still standing today, you will have to take a short drive from Mexico City to Teotihuacan. What's really cool about this place is that no one really knows who built this ancient city. By the time the Aztecs found this place in 400 BC, it had been abandoned for centuries, making these pyramids and the people who built it largely a mystery. Every Sunday, cyclists, joggers, runners, dog walkers, families, and everyone else in between take over Paseo de la Reforma, a wide two-way avenue that spans the heart of Mexico City. The entire street is blocked off from cars, allowing locals and tourists to leisurely stroll through the green city from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We rented bikes from a company called EcoBici, which is quite easy to do via the website on our phones. There are various docking spots along Reforma Avenue, so it's quite easy for us to grab and go from where we are staying in La Condesa. Reforma Avenue was also blocked off when we were there for the military parade on Mexican Independence Day. I was super impressed by how in sync they all were, especially considering how hot it was that day. It was definitely a highlight of our trip, and I highly recommend visiting Mexico City during Mexican Independence Day if you are able to. Now for my favorite part of the trip. If you've been paying close attention, you can probably tell I have a lot of favorite parts. But let's talk about the food in Mexico City. We tried everything from street food to trendy restaurants to the infamous Biol, which I forgot to film. Let's talk about a few places I did manage to film. We lined up bright and early for this mouth-watering torta vendor, and then we seriously inhaled it in like 5 seconds. It was so ridiculously good. And we also couldn't visit Mexico City without stopping by El Morro, a popular churro spot with multiple locations throughout the city. We went to the location in Polanco and ordered ourselves some churros and hot chocolates. It was delicious. A short distance from our Airbnb was Parque Mexico. I was super blown away by how much thought and maintenance goes into keeping these parts looking lush. We strolled through Parque Mexico several times on a trip, and we just people watched and enjoyed looking at all the doggos that were everywhere in La Condesa. A very popular tourist attraction that we didn't end up visiting inside was Palacio de Bellas Artes. We did, however, walk around it, and we visited the Sears department across from it to get an awesome view of the palace. When we were there was a promotion going on for the show La Casa de Papel. The English title is Money Heist. There was a huge lineup of people waiting to take pictures with these promo actors. But since I've only seen an episode or two myself, I was not a part of that line. We saw a lot of places in 10 days, and truthfully, I didn't really do a good job of filming everything we saw and did. So here's a few short clips of other places that we visited. It's not all of it, but it's some of it. We went to an artisan market in Centro Histórico, as well as the Metropolitan Cathedral, also in Centro Histórico. Then we went to the Soumaya Museum in Polanco, beautiful, chef's kiss. And then we went to Coyoacan to see the Frida Kahlo Museum, which was also our childhood home. And we did a lot of neighborhood exploring, visiting vintage shops and coffee shops in Roma and La Condesa. Alright, that concludes the end of my Mexico City vlog. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, it would mean a lot if you could thumbs up and subscribe. And if you've been to Mexico City, I want you to comment down below what was your favorite part. Alright, until next time, bye!